Would guidance from an expert help you to grow your business or career? Or do you seek inspiration for you or your kids? If so, welcome. Behind the Words TV gives you that one-on-one time with famous and emerging authors or content creators. They'll take you where you want to go. Behind the Words TV, right now. Hi, I'm Paul Madsen, back with Chapter 1 of Behind the Words TV. Today we are visiting with Lisa Pelto, President of Concierge Marketing and Book Publishing Service. Hi again, Lisa.
Hi.
Hey, we need to. Hey, you bet. Put her there. We need to talk about so many things. We're going to jump right in with first. At first, we talked about the idea that you have. You help authors create their own little tiny publishing companies. Well, let's back up from that. Okay. I'm a verbose person, and I have all these notebooks and napkins with ideas written on them. I think I'm profound. I think this should go to the market. I think the world needs to see my stuff. Mm-hmm. What do I do next?
Get it into the computer somehow.
Okay.
Either we do that, sometimes, like right now I have a 400-page handwritten prison memoir. Handwritten prison memoir. It has to be.
Is it written on toilet paper? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Notepad with codes.
Okay.
Break me out of here.
Let me out.
Right. People put it on all kinds of things. Sometimes they have old books that were on typewriters, and we get those into the computer. But for the most part, it eventually has to get into the computer. From that point, we will assess the book to see what kind of editing it needs. Sometimes it always needs editing.
Yeah.
Sometimes things need developmental editing, and sometimes they need just a copy edit if they have been edited in some way or with someone else. And then we move into sometimes picture editing. Like they'll give us 3,500 pictures and we need 50.
I'm going to back up on the copy editing thing, because I think that's an important thing. Yep. I mean, I'm a first-time author. I've never published anything before. I've never written anything before. And I've got all this stuff I'm throwing out there. And you've done a couple of these across the years we'll talk about.
Just a few.
I mean, how do you work with an author who is needing to be trimmed and focused? I mean, most of them aren't focused enough, are they?
Sometimes that is a problem. We have that conversation very early.
Okay.
And
you smack them around and tell them the reality right away. Huh? Good.
We don't really work with people that won't be edited in some way, because we don't want to encourage the publication of something that's not high quality.
Right. So you teach them up front what needs to be done.
And sometimes it's not usually that hard to show them things that are irrelevant or repeated. Or
do they? But isn't that book their baby, and they push back on you or not?
Yes. We tell them that they're going to have to kill their darling.
Oh, that's a good phrase. You have to kill your darlings,
right?
Kill your babies. Yep.
Yeah. So sometimes we'll get a manuscript that's 200,000 words, and it needs to be 80,000 words, and that's a painful editing process. But for the most part, people just repeat things and they don't realize it. So we do some reorganization. Sometimes we take chapters out, we lay them out on the conference room table or the floor, depending on how big it is, and just kind of pick what's relevant and what's not. Because a lot of times people will put things in that are only relevant to them, that they don't flow the story.
Well, and I mean, there is that. I know the backstory and the real, especially on maybe the biography type things or the family legacy ones. Mm-hmm. And they may leave stuff out that they don't tell the whole story, and so it doesn't mean anything to a reader. Right. Now, you find those traps, right? Those speed bumps? We do,
and in a lot of instances we'll hire an outside editor so they can work directly with that person. It depends on the type of book it is.
Okay.
I mean, we've had things where we did one where there was, it was written from the point of view of a cat about Shakespeare. And so and it was written in Old English. So I had
an Old English speaking cat.
And I found 8 editors that applied that knew Old English, owned a cat, and knew Shakespeare. And
Talk about a niche.
It was very niche.
Left-handed dentists that practice only in Canada or something.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, every book is a niche. I mean, there is a niche for every book.
Right.
We just have to find it.
And we'll talk about that. So you kill their darlings, you lay out, you have the speech up front that, Bob, this is all well and good, but, it's worthless to the reader, or you don't put it that way, of course. But I mean, I think people need to hear that because they don't really understand what's readable. They've read many books, but they don't understand what's readable in a book.
Right. Well, there are a lot of people that write books that haven't read a book since 8th grade. Those are the bigger problems.
I suppose, yeah. Interesting.
But we'd also help them establish what they're trying to achieve. So if it's a family memoir and they have 200,000 words and they want all that stuff in there, fine, we do that. But if it's for public consumption and it's going up on Amazon or through other channels that are for an audience that don't necessarily care, what they had for breakfast on February 13th.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Right, right. A family might care about that, but it's not relevant to the story.
Now, you have a memoir with you. Let's see it.
This is a family legacy piece.
Family legacy, okay.
Yep.
And this is an example of a product that you created with and for a family.
For the family, yep.
And
so it just is.
Looks very thick.
It's very thick.
And so this took you more than a couple weeks to put together.
This was almost a year to do the editing, find all the pictures. So I will admit that we had quite a few long breakfasts when we could have had 10-minute meetings.
Yes.
Because she's a good cook.
Yeah, well,
apparently
they are articulate, yes.
I mean, I get to know all of the authors very well because it's really an intimate business where, we're
So that's an
talking
example of a family that had a story. All families have a story. And that they came to you and said, we want this in a book format. And what did you do next? You did the editing thing, and what else happens next?
Well, we did the editing, and we also had long conversations about what we were trying to achieve date-wise.
Oh, okay.
That was very important in this because it was for a specific anniversary party, and they were going on a trip. So he also had, we had quite a few meetings on what we wanted it to look like, how we wanted it to feel and that. So that was, it was a fun project, and I got to work with his whole family. And got to know his, his wife.
So you get it all. I mean, that's a huge amount of work to get that many pages organized, pictures and copy and editing and all that. We're talking about from mind to marketplace. What is the next step for after you get it in an approved format?
Find the right printing solution. So sometimes, like for this gentleman, he wanted a fine-looking product, so I had to find a printer that would print a very high-quality book, and only 50 of them.
Okay,
that's possible.
Well, and that's it. Yeah,
that's possible.
Well, I love what you said. I find the right printing solution. I mean, for the books I've written, Amazon's print-on-demand KDP is the way to go because they're for the masses. But something like that is very narrow and very niche. And so with your vast printing background and publication production background, you know where to go, right?
Right. It's very important to know the right place to go because a book manufacturer is not a regular printer.
No.
Printers are in the business of printing, so they're not going to turn anything down.
Sure. Well, as we wrap this segment up, Lisa, give me an example of a more of a mass appeal book that you've done. You had the meeting with them up front. You talked about what's needed. You figured out where they're going. You figured out the printing solution. I mean, give us an example of somebody's out there who in the masses that you've worked with.
Well, this is the one I brought. We have several, but this is a second edition or second book in the series from Mark Langan, who did Busting Bad Guys. Now this is the More Busting Bad Guys. A lot of the stories from this came from people approaching him from the first book saying, this is the rest of the story. So this finishes out a lot of the stories. And some of them that were not told in the first book. So these are
kind of based on truth and that kind of thing.
So we designed
his... policeman, you didn't mention that, I don't think.
He's a 26-year Omaha police veteran.
So he's seen a few stories, right?
Yes, he has. But we designed a system where he didn't have to use the Amazon all the time. He has one system for that, but it is open so we can print it however he needs for whatever he's sold.
Well, because he sells a lot independently too as well. Well, that just kind of shows you, I think, that the variety of solutions that Lisa and her company brings to the table. And people can, if they need, that cocktail napkin, to the editing, to the print solution for 50 books or the print solution for 5,000 books, I think Lisa, in fact, knows the right answer. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about this in another segment. Okay. That's your wrap-up of From Mind to Marketplace with Lisa Pelto of Concierge Marketing.